Welcome back to the kitchen, everybody. This is your boy, the Mad Chef, and tonight we're going back to basics. There's been a lot of great new sections and a lot of great food that was made this year, but the one thing we're not going to do is turn our backs on the reason why we started this channel, and that's to create incredibly flavorful restaurant quality style dinners that you can do on any given weeknight, and that's what we're delivering tonight. We're doing a Mad Chef twist on a southern iconic comfort food classic. We're going to be making some chicken tenders and mac and cheese. But not just any kind. We're going to be doing an incredibly delicious hand-breaded buttermilk marinated chicken tender with a Cajun mac and cheese. Don't grab that, craft stuff. Don't grab the Velveeta even. This is going to be super simple. This version is going to take you a little bit longer than 35 minutes to make, but it's going to be well worth the time, and you can still do it when you get home. So let's get started. And in front of me, as always, are 3 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that we're going to be cutting in half. And this is where things get a little different. From each half, we're going to be cutting from it 3 chicken tenders. We're shooting for a thinner chicken tender this time because not only will they cook quicker, they'll cook more evenly. Normally, I don't mind a thicker tender, but on a busy weeknight, this way is going to be your best friend. Now that we've gotten that all situated, let's talk marinade. In this bowl are 2 cups of buttermilk, and to it we're going to be adding a seasoning blend that consists of 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And we're going to get that mixed together, and then we're going to lovingly submerge or drown all of our beautiful chicken tendies, and after that's completely covered in our marinade, we're going to put a lid on it and let it marinate for 30 minutes. Now, you could skip this step, but you don't want to. And while our chickies are soaking up their milk bath, let's go ahead and start working on our Cajun 3-cheese mac. Now that I have your attention, you know we ain't going to be bringing no bland mac to the table. So we're simply going to start off by grating up an 8-ounce block of mild cheddar, and to it we're going to be adding in a whole 10-ounce block of a smoked aged cheddar cheese, or Gouda will work in this instance. And for this application, I am using this beautiful Old Crock aged smoked cheddar. Guys, regardless of what cheese you go with, it is absolutely necessary you use a smoked sharp cheese of some kind, as it's going to push forward those earthy Cajun spices in the mix. I've had it without a smoked cheese, and it just is not the same. And to this, we're going to be adding in just 4 ounces of a regular sharp cheddar. I know this sounds like a lot of cheese, but in the end, you are going to need about 2.5 to 3 cups of shredded cheese. So all I'm doing here is just breaking up the cheese mixture with my hands, making sure all those cheeses get evenly distributed in the mix. And of course, you know it's not really Cajun without adding some good old andouille sausage to the equation. Normally, I like to keep my andouille cut into coins like you see here, but in this instance, we're going to be breaking them down into some smaller bite-sized pieces, so that way you get andouille in every bite. Not only that, by breaking them down smaller, it's going to release more of its oils, and that cheese sauce is not only going to have more of that great andouille flavor in the mix, but also it's just going to have that added richness from the umami in this spicy pork sausage. Now that we've gotten that all nice and cut up, we're going to put it away and start breading our chicken. And in this bowl, we have 2 cups of all-purpose flour and a 1/2 cup of cornstarch, and to it we're going to be adding a seasoning blend that consists of 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, 1/2 tablespoon of ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, and 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. We're going to add this in batches, making sure all of our seasonings are thoroughly combined. And after we've gotten that all nice and situated, we're going to start ladling in a few really good teaspoons of this beautiful marinade. And you've seen me do this before because I've made a lot of breaded fried chicken on this channel. So all you're going to do is add in a couple teaspoons at a time, mixing constantly in batches until you start to see a lot of these really small pellet-sized pieces of hydrated flour. And what that's going to do, it's going to create those nice, crisp, flaky layers in the breading, which is what we really want to have in any sort of breaded fried chicken. It's going to make it extra crispy and yummy. And once we have all that situated and we have plenty of those pellet-sized flour pieces in our batter mix, let's go ahead and start breading our chicken. First, by shaking off any excess marinade that may still be lingering on those chicken pieces. We're going to be doing it 3 at a time. In between tossing these guys in the flour, we're going to be pressing them down on both sides, making sure that everything is covered on these chicken pieces and there's no bald spots like this. And we're going to repeat this process until we've floured all of our chicken and we have a nice full tray of beautiful chicken tenders like this. And now it's time to head to the fryer and make things happen. So in our fryer, or if you're using any other cooking vessel, you're going to want to make sure that your oil is heated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're going to be adding these chicken tenders in, 3 in each basket, and we're going to let them cook for about 5 to 6 minutes. And if you're using an alternative cooking vessel to fry your chicken, please don't overcrowd, as it can cause your oil to spill over and cause a house fire. Not fun. So we're going to go ahead and start on our Cajun mac and cheese by adding in that full link of chopped andouille sausage to a medium sauce pot over medium-high heat. And we're going to be sweating this off, stirring gradually for about 10 minutes. We are trying to extract as much of that andouille oil as possible to give our cheese sauce the kick it needs. And after 6 minutes, our chicken has come up and it is perfectly cooked, so we're going to repeat that process for the rest of our remaining chicken. And at this time, it's time to go ahead and start cooking our pasta noodles, and we're using shells because it's better than regular mac and cheese. Fight me. I don't care. I said what I said, and that's what I said. And after we get that all nice and mixed into our boiling pasta water, we're going to go ahead and cook it to packaged instructions, and then we're going to check on our rendering andouille sausage to see where it's at. And it's starting to sweat off beautifully, but I would like to see a little more fat at the bottom of the pan. So I'm going to put it back on the heat and let it render off for another 45 seconds to a minute tops. And after that, the bottoms of these sausages are starting to get toasty and I've got a nice amount of fat in the pan. So I'm going to remove these sausage pieces, leaving all the fond and all the oil at the bottom of the pan. You do not want to get rid of this. So the next thing in is going to be 1 stick of unsalted butter. And we're going to melt that off like we always do. And then we're going to turn the heat down to about medium because after we cook the sausage, the pan is just a little too hot. And then we're going to add in a half a cup of all-purpose flour. We're going to get that mixed in very well, making sure we get all that fond off the bottom of the pan and let that oil incorporate into our roux and let it cook down for about 2 minutes. And now we're going to go ahead and add in 1 tablespoon of our beautiful homemade Cajun seasoning, recipe in the description. You're welcome. And then we're going to mix that in off the heat to keep our roux from getting too hot. And then we're going to add in slowly in batches 1.5 cups of milk and a half a cup of half and half. You've seen me do this before in multiple cheese sauces, and once we have used all of our milk and we have a nice creamy bechamel that looks like this, it's time to add in our cheese. So we're going to be adding in our beautiful 3 cheese blend in batches, making sure each handful is melted completely before adding another 1 in. Now guys, please be mindful to turn your heat back up to medium high right after introducing the milk. My pot lost too much heat because I forgot to do this. So after we add all of our beautiful cheese in and get our pot back up to temp, we have a beautifully thick enriched cheese sauce to which we're going to add back in that beautifully cooked andouille sausage. And after a taste test, it is missing some spice. All the cheese and milk product kind of took down the heat I was expecting from that Cajun seasoning. So I would definitely add in about another teaspoon or so of that Cajun seasoning if you have it. I accidentally spilled the rest of my Cajun seasoning on the floor, so I just doctored it up with about 3/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And now that the sauce is tasting like it should, I'm just going to add it to that drained macaroni, and now it's time to serve. Alright guys, and that is it. Once we got everything going and cooking, this was done within 35 minutes. So if you guys have an extra half hour to make that marinade, it definitely pays off. In my eyes, this is genuinely weeknight gourmet. Because once we put that chicken into the marinade, I was able to get everything put together for the batter, and then for our side dish. Everything was done, and I still had 3 minutes to kind of screw off and spare, So, although posing for the thumbnail kind of made this cheese sauce run a little bit, this is the plate, y'all. This is the plate. Isn't that something? All right. Southern style chicken tenders going in. Once you guys learn how to make this, I don't want to see any of you going back to the freezer section and getting that frozen crap again. And then our 3 cheese Cajun mac and cheese. That will indeed make you say, mac and cheese with the chicken strips. Oh. This is the best. And guys, it doesn't take very long to make this. This is what the channel is all about, you guys. A down-home Southern style meal. Doesn't get any simpler than this. And guys, I'm really trying to change the way you think about food. I don't want to hear no more of that. I don't have time, or that sounds like a lot of work. Hour and 5 minutes, and a half hour of that is just that chicken sitting in its marinade. So I mean, you could definitely have time to change your clothes, grab a beer, just relax while that's happening, and then the rest of this happens literally all at the same time. Um, Stop buying out the frozen and processed food sections, guys. You guys have the ability to do it. 90% of all these ingredients are in your cabinet. It's just a matter of putting it together. Um, Eat better. Your family will love you. Your body will love you for it. This might not be health food, but this is good food, and it's not difficult. Now, guys, any suggestions of anything else you would like to see on the channel, don't forget to send them by in the comments. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.